In my channel, I usually tend to talk about mysterious and weird RPGs, horror games, game development, but generally games. If you are new to this channel, which you probably are, I'm definitively not a gamer, which is kinda ironic and very weird. But something that I really enjoy and want to talk about here too is movies, series, cinematic production in general. And instead of developing my abilities to talk with other human beings, I generally spend my time either drawing, making music, videos, or watching movies and playing games. So coming up with video ideas, I thought, hey, why not making a video like that one where I recreated indie game songs, and that you should totally check out too, it's on the card popping out somewhere at the screen. But recreating the best character designs of movies and games would be great. I have so many fans, so that's exactly what I'm doing. If this is your first impression with my channel, check out the other videos I made, and if you enjoyed this one, maybe even give a like, a comment, and subscribe, would be very cool. So now, without further ado, let me show you guys what I made. I chose some of my favorite productions of all time, them being Five Nights at Freddy's, that I chose the character Frank of the game that, for those who don't know, is a really interesting and abstract surreal RPG that I really enjoy. I chose the character Zacharie, that is the guy that sells items to the player. I also selected Neo from the Matrix that everyone should know, and those who don't, what the hell is wrong with you? And for last, Ryuk from Death Note. The first character chosen is, as I said, Frank, since he is very iconic and part of one of my favorite game franchises of all time. Released in 2014, the first FNAF game was pretty much not only an instant hit, but also almost genre-defining. It popularized mascot horror and eventually turned into one of the biggest indie horror game franchises. Like, there is literally a movie on production releasing this year. It impacted the life of many, including mine. But now, let's talk about the design. As you can see on the screen, the current version is kinda bland. It's too similar to Freddy. I showed to a friend of mine and he agreed with that, so I decided to start over and eventually got something way better. I decided to give him some clothes but might take some details of the previous one. My idea at first was not even make him an animatronic and something more like a costume, but I eventually discarded that since being an animatronics the first thing that made his design interesting. I also combined some other elements from my other favorite designs from FNAF, the withered chica one. As you can see, it's really creepy and well made. I grabbed a little bit of that wide open mouth with that metal slide thing on it, and also the dead eyes is staring on you in a very weird way, and I think it worked pretty well. I did a slight change to the shape of the head, merely combining everything in one form, and I think it also worked. So after coloring and adding some details, this is how it turned out. It's not incredibly different from the original, but it has some interesting stuff. Leave your thoughts on it on the comments, and if you enjoy FNAF or even want to know a little bit more about it, I have 2 videos about it on this channel, so consider checking them out. Now, let's move to the next one, Neo from Matrix. I chose this character because I really like this movie, it's really great, and because since it has a very interesting plot of the robots taking over the planets and stucking humans inside a simulation while getting energy from them to keep working, I could really play with these designs, and I really did. For this one, I had a pretty cool idea, but I forgot to record the process, lol. I did register some state of the drawing though. My idea here was that on Matrix, humans outside from the simulation lived inside these capsules or something to maintain them alive, but still with their consciousness on the Matrix. But I stopped to think a little bit, and I think that their bodies should be way more fragile and weak on that case. I decided then that this design would have a little lore. Basically, people eventually woke up and the movie happened the way it did, but since their body was fucked, they grabbed some robots and metal parts and attached to them, becoming these very rudimentary types of cyborgs or something. I also gave their clothes kinda handmade aesthetic since, like, where the fuck they found the clothes they were. Just like the first drawing and pretty much all the rest, I couldn't add a lot of details, since I post one video per week and I couldn't take more than like 5-6 days to work on it. So here's how it turns out. I actually really enjoyed how this turned out, and maybe I even will use it in another project or something. It's probably one of my favorites from this video, but what do you guys think of it? Also leave your thoughts in the comments. I chose this character because, actually for the same reason of all of them, because I like this game off a lot, and it's actually my favorite game of all time. For those who don't know, Off, created by Marty's Ghost, Off is a very surreal and abstract game, as I said, that not only is very well written and has some amazing ambience on it, but has very interesting art and soundtrack. The sprites in games that you see on the actual trial set are pretty simple, but the ones seen on the battle scenes and face sets are very cool. You can see more of the very good hand-drawn style it has, and also the awesome designs that I'm putting on the screen right now. If you wanna know more about it, I already made a video on it. It's on a card popping out somewhere on the screen too. But now, talking about the redesign, I decided to, instead of going making an actual sketch like the previous one, make something in the style of the game. I already had a couple of ideas of what to do. I basically maintain all the elements already present, but do them in a different way. For example, that cat mask was turned into this right here, that covers the whole head and appears to be made of fabric. I maintained that creepy smile because it's one of my favorite parts of it and made it look very rudimentary. Also, I made it look like he almost carved out a hole on the mask for his eyes. To differentiate itself a little more, I gave him these claw gloves with sharp metal nails, like Freddy Krueger. In my head, since he was wearing a cat mask, why not also become a full furry with these very distorted versions of cat paws? And I just realized that I forgot to add tails. I'm fucking dumb. I couldn't really think about a lot more to add to this design, and I couldn't add a lot of details since I was making on the game styles, and that's totally not an excuse to make this extremely simple. But to be honest, I really enjoyed how this turned out too. It's a different take on this design, but not too different, so yeah. Looking now, if my version was actually human, like had a human version, he would look a lot like some edgy slasher killer from an 80s or 90s movies. That's kinda interesting. As always, leave your thoughts on the comments. And now, let's proceed to the next one, Ryuk from Death Note. I absolutely love Death Note and never found an opportunity to talk about it here, but now finally I can express a little bit of it. Death Note is one of the best things I ever watched, definitively one of my favorites. It's just extremely well written, and if you never watch it, even though that's something I highly doubt, you definitively should. And the character designs are also very iconic and well made. I choose Ryuk cause he's a Shinigami, and their designs would be way more fun to work with, since I'll have way more creative freedom than I had with normal humans. I wanted to do something that really differentiated itself from the original, but at the same time fit Ryuk's personality, and I think I kinda achieved it. I at some points even started working on a Kira version for him, until I remembered that I'm not creating new characters, so I just stick to Ryuk 2.0. His face kinda looked like a 2000s metal band vocalist, where his body was straight up copied from Punk Spider-Man. But I don't care, it looked badass. At this point, he doesn't look a lot like Ryuk, more like an original and new Shinigami, but I don't want it to start over cause despite that, I kinda like the design. Also gave him a little apple to munch on and some accessories. I can kinda see Ryuk with this design actually, so this is how it turned out. This is also one of my favorites I ever made, and probably one of the best. But now, for the 5th time, tell me what you think about everything on the comments. And check some other videos on this channel if you enjoyed this. So yeah, these are all the designs I created. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, a comment, and if you want to, check out my other videos and subscribe to receive more videos like this. Now, seriously, don't just ignore this as a generic YouTuber warning. I'm a beginner channel, and you doing that will help me a lot. Thanks for watching. So now, goodbye.